And happy morning, all. Myself, Rashmi Patil. This will be my, I think, fifth ALD presentation. So, all thanks to Puneet and all thanks to you people for listening. I'll be presenting the stock called Yatharth Hospital and Trauma Care Services Limited. Before we proceed, like what exactly this stock is, I would like to talk about how hospital sector is and exactly what is the booming sector in and around the hospital sector. So before jumping into the stock analysis, let me talk about the tourism. So tourism industry is growing in every developed country. So India is never, uh, rather it is the one pioneering, one booming in the tourism industry. And when we talk of tourism, there are a lot of tourism industry called sports tourism, adventure, recreation, business, agriculture, religious, and so-called the one booming industry is medical tourism. So it sounds quite weird, like how come medical tourism will be there? But since India has a lot of potential with medicinal, when we talk of medicine, it can be Ayurveda, it can be Unani, it can be allopathic. But apart from that, the way our doctors perform outside India, so we rather started attracting more of outside patients to India, and this is how the medical tourism started booming. So when we talk of medical tourism, uh, we have like input of outside patients. So this is the blue one here is it is in terms of thousands. So almost like 4 lakh to presently 6 lakh patients from outside India always visit India for the treatment, for one or the other treatment. So this is the analysis of 2016 to 2014, and obviously the COVID was the reason where there was a drop. But you can also again see the surge in the increase in the number of patients coming in. So when we talk of medical tourism, particularly in India, it rose from 11.14 billion in 2025 to presently 22.11 billion till 2031 is expected. So the CAGR that is expected is 12.42 in this upcoming 5 years. And why we talk of medical tourism is it is the way of any upcoming or existing hospitals to get recognition, international recognition. So when it comes to cost of comparison, why people prefer India over others? So medical tourism in that Thailand is the number one country, then comes Mexico, then we, and obviously the best service again is given by Singapore, then Japan, and the other countries like South Korea, Taiwan, and Philippines. So why people choose India over these countries and why Thailand is number one is when we talk of Thailand, it is mostly a very tourist place. When you have tourism, other tourism, जहाँ पे आप घूम फिर सकते हो, and apart from that, you can also get the treatment at a very lesser place. I mean, lesser price. So that becomes the hotspot of any patient also, not normal person, any patient also. But India is such a country which is very strategically located, and when we compare the price, particularly when why the patient prefers India is the price is the main reason. So if we have something like heart bypass, so in US it costs $130,000, whereas in India in $10,000 everything is done. Thailand is a little more pricier than India, and Singapore is a little costlier. So price wise, India is always the lowest compared to the Thailand that is number one in tourism. The only thing is we need to work around what are the other facilities, like apart from the cost factor, what are the other facilities that makes patient more comfortable to prefer India over other countries. So this is the tourism market from 2021. We have come up to here, like until next year, it is 35.12 billion expected growth. And when I said why people prefer India, one is the strategic location. Another thing is, we all might have heard that when we have to even visit a normal physician in Western countries, the wait time is minimum 20 days to 3 months. Here it's hardly like 24 hours to 48 hours maximum. So waiting time is quite less, and we Indians speak English very fluently. So for Westerners, it is the language is not a barrier. And when we come to the east part, like people coming from other countries, we always have the translators. And Thailand is very strict with its very conservative with its language, so no English. And we have to have very expertise people working exclusively in the medical field to entertain the patient outside. And the cost is always the main reason for India to be preferred. So what is done at 25,000 to $100,000, here it is treated within 3 to 8 thousand uh, dollars. So overall cost covers, suppose something that costs there 20 lakh, here in within it is done within 3 to 5 lakh. So even along with the treatment, the travel cost is covered, the stay is covered, the person is comfortable economic wise, stay wise, and then he is able to cover his travel cost also. And when we talk of those hospitals which the patients are preferring, they are mainly in metro cities. So all good cities are connected with good airways. So uh, the patient need not shift anywhere. So it's directly from airport to hospital. And when it comes to India, the most preferred treatment in India are the knee replacement. And recently, there is something introduced as robotic knee replacement, which is gaining attention in India compared to other countries. Then hip replacement, cornea surgery, and then dental. Dental, when we say we somewhere the RCT, that is root canal treatment, here it costs from 3,000 to 15,000. But outside, even for that, first of all, you have to wait a lot and you can't bear the pain, and also the cost is quite high. We need a lot of accreditations. I mean, not as a compulsion, but these are the accreditations the hospitals, if they have, then the patient prefers these particular hospitals. So few accreditations that is preferred is JCI, NABH, GHA, and NABL. JCI is Joint Commission International. This is issued by USA, and it once the hospital gets the JCI accreditation, then it is called the gold standard for the health quality. So talking about India, only less than 70 hospitals out of so many hospitals in India, less than 70 hospitals have JCA accreditation. And when it comes to NABH, this is given by India. So National Accreditation Board for Hospitals and Healthcare Providers, this is nationally recognized, and yet hardly 1,500 plus hospitals have this accreditation. And when we talk of NABL, National Accreditation Board for Testing and Calibration, this is mainly for the lab equipments, whatever costly equipments you have in the hospital. Are they, they recognized by NABL accreditation? Are they NABL accredited? Because the system has to be quite robust when you're treating the patients. So, and GHA is something very recent one, that is business based Dubai NRI who is settled in Dubai. He started this. So global healthcare accreditation, it usually blends the experience of the patient. Particularly, it works on the stay of the patient. So apart from hospital getting the recognition, the hotels also need this accreditation. So coming back to our Yatharth Hospital stock. So this started in 2008. This is a 17-year-old company. It is started by Ajay Tyagi. He himself is a doctor and his wife is also a doctor, Nita Tyagi, and mainly a family-owned business. He's Yatharth. I think in his name the hospital started. So he's having a MBA and a degree in science related to health, but he's not doctor. And here is the chairman, and Yatharth is the whole-time director to this. And when they started 2008, this company was incorporated. Then 2010, within 2 years, they built the first hospital in Noida. So when I talk of Yatharth, it is mainly in and around Delhi and Noida. So the first commencement with the 250 bed hospital, they opened in 2013 and expanded to 400 with Greater Noida Hospital. So these were all their own hospitals where they started from scratch, built everything from single bed to building the building, getting all the equipments. So it did take a lot of time, and this is their 450 bed hospital in Noida Extension. And then they started, instead of building, they started acquiring the hospitals in and around. So Jhansi Orcha Hospital with 305 bed, then Agra recently 250 bed, and then Greater Faridabad, Delhi 400 beds. So this is the one that is the Noida extension. This is the one hospital among all the 8 hospitals. This is the one with JCA accreditation. So when I say of JCA accreditation, it is the international accreditation the hospital gets, and hardly 70 hospitals have this accreditation, and Yatharth is one among that. So, in 17 years of history, they have come a long way and established themselves very well now. And these are the old hospitals they built. That is the Greater Noida, Noida, and Noida Extension. So these are, people are from Uttar Pradesh, and everything is in and around Delhi and Uttar Pradesh. So these are the mature ones, means these are the older hospitals with 400, 250, and 450 beds. And recently, what they acquired is Jhansi Orcha, Greater Faridabad, and Agra. Agra is just last month it started operating, but it is a very well established hospital. So these are the old and these are the new hospitals. So when we talk of location, how it is, where it is located, five of the hospitals are in UP. But if you see the location, all are at the belt of Delhi. So very much accessible to Delhi, and this is the only one which is quite far. So all the 4 hospitals, five hospitals are in Noida Extension, Faridabad, and Agra, and this is the only one. Jhansi is the only one which is a little farther, and they do have in Faridabad also. When we talk of bed capacity, presently altogether they have come to 2,550. They started with 250 bed capacity first hospital. In 17 years now they have come to 2,550 bed capacity. And since it is a hospital stock, we are going to talk in terms of ARPOB. What is ARPOB? Average revenue per occupied bed. So once a patient uh, is admitted in the hospital, his revenue out of one patient, like once the bed is occupied, how much revenue per bed occupation, how much it generates. So presently, this is the cost, that is 32,757 per bed. And overall, out of 2,550, 66% occupancy is there. And overall, the compound annual growth is 40% in 4 years, and EBITDA is 35%, and profit after tax is 61%, which is really good. And when we are talking of state of art all machines, here are the kind of machines they are investing into, which are costing them in terms of crores, and the kind of operations this hospital provides, or the kind of treatment this hospital offers, is organ transplant. I mean, these are the kind of a little rarest of the rare compared to other normal hospitals in India. So organ transplant, how many they have done till date? Successfully 230 plus. Robotic surgery, just as I mentioned, India is known for knee surgery and knee replacement and hip replacement. So they are using robotic surgeries, that is 950 already operated. And all the hospitals except Noida Jhansi Hospital, all other hospitals, 6 hospitals, have the facility. Then radiation oncology. When we talk of oncology, it is cancer treatment. So radiation oncology, this is present only in Noida Extension, and Noida Extension is the only one having the JCI accreditation. So 2,900 plus already done. Heart related, all hospitals have, that is 9,600 plus. Neurosurgery is 6,800, and orthopedic, that is something related to your bone, that is already 20,000 plus operations done. So these, apart from this, they're holding, 74 resident doctors are there, 19 specialties are there. Particularly, these are hosted in Noida Extension Hospital. When we talk of their specialities across hospitals, when they started, hardly there was any, offers related to very critical diseases. So 56% was related to this nephrology, urology, then internal medicine and all. But slowly, as the time proceeds, they started offering in all the, you just name it and they have the facility to offer it. I mean, all the treatments are available. So when we talk of ARPOB, that is average revenue per bed, Noida Extension is the one which is offering 44,000, right? The average is 32,000 plus per bed, but whereas in Noida Extension, which has that JCI accreditation, it has 40,000 plus revenue per bed. Looking at the financial based in Q3 results of FY26, and talking of their revenue, they have generated, this company started with 2,800 plus market capital. Now it is 6,800 plus market capital. And today's revenue is, present revenue is 46% year on year, that is 3,200 million. EBITDA is 742 million, that is 35% year on year. EBITDA margin is 23%. PAT, as I told, 41% year on year. And bed capacity, presently it is 2,550. And occupancy 67 to 68%, and it is increasing by 11% yearly. And average ARPOB is 32 to 33,000, and ALOS is average length of stay. So when a patient comes in, so he or she stays minimum for 4 to 5 days. So 4.5 days is the average stay of a patient, and ARPOB is average revenue per bed. And this quarter, the last quarter, since the last month the results were announced. So this quarter have been most robust compared to previous quarters. So when we say FY26, the previous quarter results, the revenue was 2,794, whereas it increased by 3,205. The reason behind this is they did acquire Agra Hospital. So that was already ready to occupy, ready to operate, and ready to let in the patient to be treated. So there is nothing that they had to input any, as far as the equipments are concerned or the doctors are concerned. It was a very well set up hospital which they acquired. So that did add a lot of revenue addition to this, that is 15%. And when we overall compare year on year, how much it made. So there's an increase in 32% of revenue overall compared to last year. EBITDA and EBITDA percentage. So here it has maintained the 23 to 25% of EBITDA, and whereas compared to last year, there is a little decrease. The reason being the acquisition of the hospital. And profit before tax, here it is 18%. And when we compare year to year, that is 19, and there's a little increment to 19.9. We need to understand here is since it is a hospital stock, it is asset heavy stock. And when we talk of bed capacity, because any hospital will be known like how much bed it possesses in a hospital and how much are occupied. So among the available beds, 67% is on average occupancy, and compared to last year, it has grown from 61% to 66%. Whereas the revenue, that is average revenue per bed, it is 33,744. That is what is running. But Noida Extension is the only hospital which has 42,000 per bed revenue. And when we compare last year, there's a little, little increment, but the reason being I told like Agra acquisition. And when we say IPD or OPD, that is inpatient and outpatient. Inpatient is one who comes, stays back in the hospital once he admits, and outpatient is daycare, like he comes, consults, and goes back home. So this is something that number of patients have been increasing. And here, if you compare like last year to this year, minimum were 279 and this year it is 315. So there has been increasing patients, and it is making its name along with other hospitals. Since we have good hospitals already that has made a brand name, Yatharth is adding to that category. It's like when we compare to 2021 till here, it started with 3 hospitals just 5 years back. Now it is having 8 hospitals. But when it comes to revenue generation, so 35% of Yatharth, this one, uh, revenue is government patients who has that CGHS, like central government people, uh, uh, maybe the aged people, the old age people who has that, or people coming with insurance and all. So when it comes to only 3, and here it is 8. But which is giving more revenue is, first of all, Delhi is quite operational. So Delhi is the hotspot where it is more occupied compared to any other hospital of Yatharth. Then comes the Noida and Greater Faridabad, and then other this one. So these are the more generating hospitals for Yatharth. And when we compare the CAGR or the EBITDA and PAT, again talking in terms of revenue, FY25 was 8,805, whereas here it is, there you can see the almost 2,000 crore difference. So EBITDA here it is uh, 2,220. I mean, here it is 2,000. And they do agree there was a lot of, I mean, when it comes to capex, they did sell. I mean, the promoter selling was there. A lot of things happened in 1 quarter. I mean, in last 2 quarters. I did discuss the bed capacity and incoming and outgoing. Overall, when we compare, there has been overall year-wise, there has been increment in the number of patients visiting the hospital. So talking about the fundamental ratio of Yatharth, it is 6,200 market capacity, and current price is 6,000. I mean 647. The lowest was 360, that is during its listing, and highest it hit is 844. when we talk of this price, it has already doubled. I mean, it has already given more than 100%, 140% revenue. I mean, sorry, return to the investor who did invest during the, I mean, who got the IPO or did invest during the low price of this. So it is not a dividend yielding company. And the stock pre right now is 37. Yes, it is a little highly valuated. And when we talk of debt, it almost zero debt, and PEG ratio is also the ideal. So this is not an issue. Sales growth is good, that is 31%, and profit margin compared last year is 26% increment. And promoter holding is 55%. I'll discuss why this much. And price to earning is 37, ROE is 10%. It is, yes, it is less. Why? Because of the capex and the number of working days and the receivables. Comparing it with the other hospitals, particularly the first four, Apollo, Max, Fortis, and Narayan, these are these all hospitals have the JCI accreditation. First of all, they're all well set. Market capacity is also higher compared to Yatharth. You can see that Apollo Hospital is like more than lakh market capacity. Max is also well set hospital. Fortis, then Narayan Hrudayal also. This was presented by Sheetal last ALD. And Aster is a very growing good hospital stock. And Krishna and Global are okay. Their market capacity wise, they're high, but compared to other returns, they're highly valued. So when we compare the features of other, I mean, when we compare the fundamentals of ratios of other hospitals with Yatharth, you can see that let's compare particularly Max is the one competitor with Yatharth. So when we compare Apollo and all these, Narayan is really giving good, but apart from that, all are giving at par with Yatharth. And ROE, yes, Yatharth is the lowest comparatively, but I said like the receivables and the government in revenue itself is 35%, which withholds the growth. And when we talk of PEG, you can just check what are the PEG ratio of other hospitals. Apollo, even though it is very good, but PEG ratio is 3.3, Max is 3.08, the Fortis is 2, and Narayan is 1 point. So Yatharth is the only one where the PEG ratio is below 1. And yes, other hospitals are giving the dividend. Yatharth may or may not in future. And when we talk of profit, the quarterly profit, just check out Yatharth's quarterly profit, whereas some hospitals are giving it in terms of negative. Apollo is doing good. And quarterly sales. Quarterly sales, Yatharth is the highest, and others are below that, except Narayan. Coming to the debtor days, here we have overall, if you see, the cash conversion cycle is almost 4 months, that is 128 days, and working capital days is also 109. So almost 4 months. Whenever there is any dealing with the government, we always know that the pay is always delayed. So it takes minimum 4 months to 6 months for the receivables, I mean the money to be recovered. And since Yata's 35% revenue is also from the government, this number matters. The reason for ROE being 14%, ROC is being 14%. And when we talk of cash flows, so here, yes, they are like heavily investing into new hospitals and everything. Yet the overall the net cash flow is 249. And when we talk of profit and loss, operating profit is 260, which has been increasing year by year. And when we talk of profit before tax, where it started in 2007, I mean, we're talking about its 2023 when it was listed. So from 88, Here now it is 219. So the profit, I mean, PAT has been, I mean, profit before tax is 219 and profit after tax is at par. So the net profit has been increasing year by year. We can see the net profit is 165 compared to all the previous years. And talking about the insights, since I told, like, since it is the hospital stock, we are not talking here about the clientele or the order book. Here we talk about ARPOB, that is average revenue per bed. So since its inception, like 2023 was the listing of Yatharth in second half. So it started with 28,140 on average revenue per bed. Now it has come to 33,000 plus. And bed occupancy rate, like out of 100, minimum 67 beds are occupied. And inpatient, this is the where they make the revenue, not from the outpatients. Inpatient volume, it is 22. Outpatient, obviously it will be more, that is 102. And average length, that is ALOS, average length of stay here at least 4.5 years minimum. So the bed capacity presently it has 2,250. This is what is present data, and this is quarter-wise result, and this is year-to-year result. So the average capacity 4.5 to 5 days is the occupancy, and from 21,000 we came to 32,000 bed capacity. Obviously, when we talk in numbers, then it is 1,600, or else it is always 67%, and in inpatient volume is 66. Okay. Now, talking about the promoters holding as well as who are the investors in this one. So we can see that, sorry, it was supposed to be on BlackRock. So BlackRock is invested in this. We have Mukul Agarwal and Vijay Kedia also invested in this stock. And it is hardly like 2.5 year old company. I mean, as far as listing is concerned. So Vijay Kedia and Mukul Agarwal, we can see they're invested in this. BlackRock is invested in this. But one thing what we saw is the promoter holding is 55%. Why 55%? The very last quarter, Neena Tyagi, I think she happens to be the mother of Yatharth, in whose name this hospital is named. So the one of the co-founder, main co-founder, she sold her almost 6% of stock, and this happened exactly in November and sorry in uh, yeah, November, and in September. I mean, September, November is the time where they were acquiring the Agra hospital. So this percentage we can realize why this was sold, because Agra hospital acquired and it is operational from last month. So obviously they took it for at least on papers it is 250 crores. So the money that was required here was pitched in by the promoter selling. So I don't think that 5% decrease has any effect. And present technical analysis, as far as the trend lines are concerned, it is doing well, except in one particular quarter. Uh, Here we can see the stock may come down maximum up to around 560, 580, and the stock can go up to 900. And as per the recent call, they are even assuring, the company is assuring that 30% growth will, that is the conservative growth that we are expecting. Yeah. And when we talk of like this is all about Yatharth, but let's talk about how much the government is pitching, like how government is helping to in the health sector. So there are schemes like Pradhan Mantri Ayushman Bharat Health Infrastructure, which is mainly focusing on the infrastructure part of the hospitals. And they have reserved 32,928 crore in 21, 22 to 26. So for 5 years, this is the budget allocated for in hospital infrastructures. Pradhan Mantri Swasthya Suraksha Yojana, it aims for regional imbalances, because as I told, maximum all good hospitals, I mean, very well equipped hospitals are in metro cities. So it's trying to expand more of its AIMS hospitals, and 22 AIMS are approved. And there is something called Heal in India healthcare. This is the particularly for to focus on medical tourism. When we have all the facilities, we also need high paying patient. So when we need high paying patient, then obviously we do want to attract the outside patient who can pay more. So Heal in India is the government initiative to pitch in medical tourism and what all it requires as a healthcare. So here we are not focusing only on the hospitals, we are focusing more on the wellness centric services. So it does focus on the hospital, the patient who comes in, but also overall stay of the patient. And since Ayush, like Ayurveda, Unani and all offers are there, so even Ayurveda and other things, the government wants to expand in that sector also. This is a beautiful initiative which actually helps overall hospitals in India. Uh, as I was listening to the con call of the company last month, this is the guidance given by the company. So they are expecting 35%. First of all, this is the present scenario. 35% of their revenue is from government business, which is affecting their working capital as cash flow. So the company said, since they want to grow more, since they want to improve on this working capital and cash flow and reduce the number of days, so in next 2 years, they will reduce this 35% to 25 to 30% in coming next 2 years. And right now they have 2,500 beds. Apart from that, they want to double this. So they want to expand 3,000 more beds. Presently, they have 2,500 beds. They want to expand with 3,000 more beds with brownfield and greenfield expansion. When I say brownfield and greenfield is something that the land is I mean open. It is given to you. Either you buy it or you lease it from the government, and you build your hospital there. Brownfield is something that already there is an established hospital, but it is not doing so well, or it is not equipped with the machines it needs to have. So these people will acquire the existing hospitals and then extend their all facilities there. So either by leasing out or buying the land and then building, or brownfield, that is acquiring the hospitals. This is how they are going to expand. But when we talk of how much they are spending per bed, so this cost them, including the machine, hiring the doctors, taking the land, buying the hospitals. So this is costing them 60 to 70 lakhs per bed, and they want to increase to 20 to 25% growth. They are very much assuring this growth because now they did acquire three well established hospitals. They did when they were use the word mature, all their old hospitals are doing very well now. They're all established, occupied, and doing and generating growth now. So minimum 20 to 25% growth conservatively. This can be expected in coming 2 to 3 years. When we talk of cash flow conversion, uh, the reason that they gave is before they were paying the salary earlier, I mean, the start of the month. Now they are paying at the end of the month. This itself has increased in their cash flow conversion with 80 to 90%. And naturally, they want to increase the capex. They want to acquire more hospitals or put in more, work for the GSA accreditation or extend their, hospital infrastructure wise or facility wise. So they want to work on their capex. So whatever profit is generated, that will be converted to cash, and then they are in future expecting to go for more debt. So initially per bed would cost them 60 lakh. Now recently, like the Faridabad hospital cost them 80 to 90 lakh per bed. And talking hospital wise, dividing the revenue, Delhi has the 300 bed with 38% occupancy. 100 beds are quite operational. Faridabad, these are all their old hospitals that they have built. And Faridabad has 400 beds with 43 occupancy compared to Delhi, more occupancy is there. And they want to hire more staff. That is phase wise. They don't want to push, push in into, right now they're into contractual mode, but they want to hire more staff so that they can provide the residents and let the doctor be with them. And they're expecting this 38 and 43% both to be 50% as a break even in coming days. So Faridabad will take 12 months, Delhi will take 15 months, and Greater Noida has already given the break even. And recent Agra. So, talking of this, why did they acquire this? Is in 100-kilometer radius, there is no hospital that is in match with Agra Hospital. So it is fully operational with all the staff available. And since it's exhibition and since it is operational, since it is already well equipped, already 40 to 50% of EBITDA was generated from only this hospital. That's the reason there is increment in the revenue in quarter 3 of FY26. And here the ARPOB is average revenue per bed is 26,000, and it will increase by 25% in future because it is since acquisition it got fully operational from Feb 26. And Noida, Greater Noida is the only Noida extension is the only JCI accreditation. Oncology, that is the cancer treatment, is not available in all the hospitals they are providing, and this treatment is generating them 63 to 85 crore of revenue, and they want to pitch in more this department in all the other 7 hospitals, and expecting 35% of growth in coming days. So before oncology just generated 3%, now it is 10%, and very soon they are expecting it will generate 15% more revenue. Okay, now overall, why Yatharth I told compared to other peers, why how it is doing and how much is the present scenario. But how the hospital sector will grow? Like, should we even invest in any hospital stock? So, talking of India's number of hospitals, total hospital base is 71,000 hospitals are built. And in this, in tier 2 and tier 3 cities, 26 to 27,000, overall in 70,000, 26 to 27,000 government hospitals are there. So it is not that private hospitals are hardly 43,000 to 44,000. And in this accredited facilities, as of late 2022, there are only 65 plus. I said like less than 70 only have this JCI accreditation. Why it is important? Because it is an international accreditation. Once this recognition is there, the hospital has more input of patient and more revenue. It becomes the more revenue generating hospital. So among 70,000, only less than 70 has this accreditation. So you can imagine why Yatharth, we're talking of Yatharth also, it is one of the hospital having this accreditation. And NABH, that is national level accreditation, only like 1,500 plus out of 71,000 hospitals are having this. But when we talk of accreditations, what is the difference? Like, okay, one hospital is having JCI and one is having NABH. NABH is providing all the same facility, equal treatment, same thing to every patient, what the JCI accredited hospitals do. The only thing is to acquire this, they have to, agree to so many norms, but facility wise, treatment wise, there is no difference. And infrastructure concentration, out of 71,000, 63% of hospitals are privately owned, and significant of them are again in metro cities. So roughly 65% of all the hospital beds are again in this 65 to 68% occupancy is there. So where it is again tier 1 cities, that is metro cities, despite this area holding only 30% of the whole population. So The rest of the 70% of population is divided in tier 2 and tier 3 cities. And when we talk of hospitals, their concentration, I mean, the number of hospitals present, again, it is more in metro cities. That is near to 65% are in only metro cities. The reason why, like, government is also pitching in, it is working on the infrastructure, it is trying to build more hospital, it has already approved more of AIMS, 22 AIMS hospital, so that the reach of health becomes the right of every individual. So public sector capacity, many of the 25,000 public hospitals, that is government hospitals, especially in rural areas. First of all, we know like how the government hospitals operate, and when it comes to hygiene or the number of people being flooded there, obviously we don't see the facilities that we get in private hospital. And when it comes to physician and everything, there will be all the facility, but when it comes to advanced diagnostic tools, they do lack that. So out of 70,000, the 40,000 are the one who are operating better compared to government. And in this again, only 70% have all the advanced technology, and only 1,500 are abiding by the national accreditation certificate. Okay, talking about Yatharth overall, it is a asset-heavy company. Already given, considering the ATH that is all-time high, it has already given 145% return. And in terms of multiplication, we can say it is already 2.5 times doubled since its listing. So Yatharth is one among the very few JCI accredited hospital, and all hospitals are in tier 1 cities. Since they are in tier 1, the occupancy will be higher, and they are planning to add 3,000 more. That's the reason they want to go for debt again, and they want to convert every profit they make in turn it into cash. And this will be done in 2 to 3 years. But when we talk of this 3,000 beds, the expansion of 3,000 beds will be done in 2 to 3 years, but the revenue generating out of these 3,000 beds will be reflected over 4 to 5 years. And the company is almost debt free. That's the good part. Right now, they are having to the 200 crore cash in balance, and it is the only JCI accredited in whole of Uttar Pradesh. So we know that how much population Uttar Pradesh has, and in that how many hospitals are there, and in that it is the only one having this accreditation. And Yatharth before was everything was done manually. Now they digitized everything. So obviously a little bit of money went into that conversion. The present P 39, but it was 50 compared to last quarter. So valuation wise also it is improving. They have a very good expansion rate, and right now they have 200 crore in cash, and they have the brand in hand to attract outside patients. And there is one new airport coming in Agra that will help the Agra hospital a lot. If that airport, the new airport operates, naturally they will think of going for more equipment or fully operational international level of standard will be maintained in Agra hospital. Yeah. Before concluding, I would like to add one thing. I spoke of one more accreditation, that is GHA. It is not only about the hospital stock that we are talking, what all comes in and around, what all grows with hospital. So with increasing number of hospitals, when we talk of bed capacity and all, not everybody can afford, or there are people, since I started with the medical tourism, people when they come, first of all, cost effective, that is the main reason they come. But when we talk of different countries, the westerners, they are nuclear families. When they come, they don't come as a family, they come as an individual. The person who comes with a lot of money at hand, he is treated with lot of respect the moment he arrives in airport. So holding the bag to getting him into the hospital, getting him all the facilities on spot without making him wait for anything. These all are done. But what he needs is, since he's spending the 20 lakh, here he wants to spend 3 to 5 lakh. He's ready, like what the treatment is done in 3 lakh, he's ready to spend the 2 lakh more. So why not provide him the facility worth his money? So the medical dealers or the agents that we say who deal with the hospitals here, as well as the hospital outside. I mean, they are the main reason who connect the doctors here and the patients outside. So telemedicine is the one that is working. Then GHA, when I spoke of this GHA accreditation, that is Global Healthcare Accreditation, this started privately by NRI. I said, like, the person in the Indian who settled in Dubai, he started this business. What he is doing is he observed one thing: hospitals are in one place, but the facility around the hospital are not that good, and the hotel is somewhere else. So he's trying to add, I mean, collaborate those hotels along with the hospitals which are nearby, and reserve certain number of rooms in the hotel, particularly for the outside international patients. So when we talk of reserving the room, then it is maintaining the hygiene, so that once he comes from the treatment, when he takes the treatment, the hygiene is very much necessary. That has to be it has to be infection free zone, and soundproof and all. Then a separate dietitian is kept for them, the special services given to them. So here the hospitality with hospital is growing. Along with that, the hospital is not burdened. Suppose, say, like today's Yatharth only, like it is having 2,500, and say 100% occupancy is there. So what next if the patient wants to come and stay? Yatharth is limited with its bed capacity, right? So they will treat, but when it comes to occupying the bed, the hotels will be providing the services along with the treatment going on. So this is the beautiful concept that is growing, and Hyderabad is the zone where 4 5 hospitals are in a same lane, and around 20 hotels are in and around the hospitals. So there, this project is already going on. Delhi, it is going on, and they're trying to expand more. So this is something that will help. And the translators, as I said, when it comes to Westerners, the translators are not necessary because they speak English, we speak English. Someone from Eastern countries, they come, or from African countries, they come, say they don't speak English. We do have the translators also. So every person is gaining importance with this sector, that is medical tourism. So it's not just about the doctors, and the doctors here are invited by the outside country. The doctor is more interested because, say, any doctor from the Yatharth, the very potential doctor of Yatharth, he is sent outside, so that first of all he'll stay there 2 3 months. He will operate the patients there, and once the potential of the doctor is known, then that country people are already the potential patients for your hospital. So this is a win-win situation for all. That's the reason, like, hospital sector, and as I said, like, everything is concentrated only in metro cities. So tier 2 and tier 3 are yet to receive the minimum basic facilities to their cities, and these people, once established, quite natural, they will expand to tier 2 cities. So hospital sector will grow. As far as Yatharth, the very conservative figure they have given is 30% growth in next quarter. So we are positive about it. I mean, as far as the technical is concerned, as far as their fundamentals are concerned, quite positive about its growth. And one thing I would like to tell, see, since its inception, see, the minimum ARPOB when we talk 22,000, right now 33,000. So instead of giving 33,000 to 40,000 per bed, I mean, revenue to the hospital, maintain your health, invest in stock, and invest in your health, not in the hospital. So your body is the lifetime maintenance you pay for. So do take care of it, maintain a lifestyle. I end my presentation here.
Lovely presentation,
Any,
Rashmiji. Yeah,
yeah,
very good. So, two questions from the chat. One is on the cash collection speed. I think you answered some part of it, that they're changing the salary part of it to improve
yeah.
that cash collection overall. But because of the government, do you see any interruptions or the pricing part?
Yeah, they did agree openly that government will is like it's the biggest hindrance in their revenue. So that part they cleared. And when it comes to hiring of doctors, they are doing it phase wise because even if they want a doctor to stay as a resident doctor and work for them, they are the price is high compared to the contractual doctors.
Hmm.
And since acquisition, they're trying to equip all the 8 hospitals with good facilities. So here, the capex is working, and naturally, they pitched. I mean, they did highlight again and again only on the in con call only on the receivables when it comes to government.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, another question from Rahul is on the PE is not the correct metric. So Rahul, the answer here is, I think what Rashmi is trying to say, that the valuations have been corrected overall, and from that perspective, we can see that as a PE. Yeah, more or less, I think these are the questions. Thank you, Rashmiji, once again.
Thank you. Thank you all,
Okay, yeah, we'll move to the next
and all the
person.
best to Sheetal.
Yeah, we'll move to the next person, Sheetal.
Thank you. Thank you, Rashmi. Good morning, everyone. Can I share my screen?
Yes, go ahead.
Is the screen visible?
Yes, it is.
Okay, good morning, one and all. Thank you so much for taking our time and being here today. It's not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent, but the one who's most responsive to change. Now, the man who has said this needs no introduction. All of us know him. But what he said then is very much relevant even today. This applies in context of all the organizations and human beings and companies. So many organizations trying to adapt to the change, they either survive or they perish. So on that note, I'll try to take you through what we have in store for today. India is through a huge transformation. We will only, of course, there's a gamut of transformation which is happening, but we will only restrict it to digital transformation and energy transition for today. Now, there is a 100% government is undertaking the initiative, 100% 4G coverage in India, and also 5G coverage by 2030. At least 90% of India should be covered by 5G. This is the government initiative. They've also recently, in the current budget, they've set aside close to about 12,196 crores for PLI. That is your public link scheme, wherein you manufacture and 20% of the manufacturing which is being done should be done in India. So you get a product links incentive. Then you also have the other government initiative where government has undertaken, where most of the remote villages, around 20,000 villages, have to have the Wi-Fi connectivity, which is a last mile connectivity. So what it tells you today, that it tells you that there is a huge opportunity for the telecom, infra, and ICT sectors. Now coming back to BESS, which is battery energy storage system. Now all of us are aware of the wind energy. Of course, that's growing massively, and we are also aware of the solar energy. We don't need to emphasize on the importance for both of this. But what cannot stay is solar cannot cater to a long time, because it's limited availability, and so is the wind. So to bridge the gap is where your battery energy storage system is coming in. Now, India has a requirement of close to 236 gigawatts of storage capacity, storage requirement by 2030. Now, currently, government I think has floated tenders only towards 60 gigawatts. Okay, so there is a huge growth opportunity. Then also, government has also said Make in India initiative, where a lot of products related to this are made in India. So there, the companies are getting a lot of benefit. So at the cusp of this transition is one such company, which is Pays Digitech. Now, from a simple turnkey infrastructure company to it is transitioning into an integrated manufacturing company. I'll take you through. Now, what I have done is I will not get into too many details of why, when, and how, and all that stuff, because most of this information will be available online. I'll just take you. The emphasis will be mostly on the transition as to where the company was, what it does, and where it is leading currently, and is that relevant for today.
Yeah, Sheetalji, I think some of the screen is partially blocked, right hand side and on the top. So
Is this better?
yeah, now it is better. Top is still blocked.
I'll just check. Is this better now?
Yeah, better than the last time, but still some partially. I will just share you the snapshot possibly, and you can have a
Okay.
look where it is blocked.
Okay.
Just check the chat part.
Okay. Could you just give me 2 minutes, please? I just try to
Yeah,
say. Thank you.
okay.
Is this better now?
Yeah, better. Yeah, now it is clear.
Okay,
Go ahead
great.
now.
Sorry for the interruption.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So one such company at the cusp of transition is Pays Digitech. Now, earlier they were just a telecom infrastructure and EPC and ICT company. Now they are recently transitioning into an integrated infrastructure powerhouse. How and what, I will just explain it to you. First and the foremost, what they do, uh, they sell, they erect towers for the telecom industry. They have been supporting close to 30,000 sites. So they provide the power management systems, the tower infrastructure, and optical fiber network deployment. Then comes the other part, which is supposed to be the product manufacturing, where they manufacture SMPS units, the intelligent power management units, and the hybrid DC power system. Now, the third part of it is your integrated smart city solutions. Like you have your intelligent classrooms, intelligent agricultural kiosks. So that is your third part of the business. Now, what they want to do in future is they will want to target close to 10 gigawatts of capacity by September 26. How and when, I will tell you later. And also, what is your business revenue model and how they are planning to do this. Okay, very briefly, the company started its operations in 2007, founded as Pace Digitech. In 2014, they bought the lineage power from GE. Now, what it did to them is gave them access to the advanced DC power system technology. Then in 2020, they rebranded themselves to Pace Digitech Infra. Now, why? That was a slow transition to the other infra divisions as well. In 2000, between 2020 to 2024, they had a complete corporate transformation. 2025, they came up with an IPO issue close to 820 crores and which is successfully listed on BSE and NSE as well. This was for the organizational expansion. And in 26, they are basically looking at a complete pivoting to the best industry. So this is a bird's eye view of where the company was and what they are currently doing. Now, when we will try to understand a little bit about their business models, mainly their revenue is driven through two key things. One is your EPC and one is your ICT. Okay, these are the two products which mainly derives their revenue. What we are doing is they are also currently looking at installation, commissioning, long-term maintenance, and site survey and design. They are providing you to end-to-end turnkey solution. As a result, they've also laid down the optic fiber cables close to 6,600 kilometers. They're manufacturing the telecom power equipments close to, I think this fiscal they've created around 4,200 plus units. Lithium ion battery packs. Now, this is a very interesting concept. I'll explain this to you in detail a little later. But this is an overall scenario. If you see on the left hand side, there is a telecommunications part, then there is a green energy solutions, and there is your intelligent smart system. All together, using this expertise, we are slowly transitioning into strategic pivot into BESS, which is a battery energy storage system. Now, why are they doing that? If they are integrating the solar and the lithium ion storage, they are drastically reducing the diesel consumption at various telecom towers. Now, this is where they're trying to get themselves decarbonized and looking at complete decarbonization. This is another part. So what we're focusing here is how they are slowly pivoting into the best technology. Previously, earlier long ago, around 2023 to 2024, most of their order book or most of their revenue used to be derived from the telecom passive infrastructure. Now we are all aware that the telecom infrastructure is heavily capex based and also it's quite cyclical as well. And 6% used to be from the other product revenues. Whereas currently, slow transition has yielded them this advantage. There is a completely balanced mix between the telecom ICT and also the BESS segment. So now if you look at their product composition, there is 50% towards telecom ICT and 50% towards the energy and BESS. Now, what it can do or what it will do, what will help them is, see, this energy pivot basically allows the company to leverage all its existing power management expertise into higher growth and higher margin grid and renewable sectors. They've also created a small holding company as well. I'll come to the detail a little later. But the creation of this small dedicated vehicle also helps them cement this transition to a clean energy utility player in the whole infra era. Let's quickly understand their business model. As I had earlier mentioned, their product comes from their revenue basically comes from three segments. One is EPC, that is engineering, procurement, and construction. Typically, here the margins are around 8 to 10%. capital requirement is immediate here, but it also comes back to you immediately between the 19 to 120 days. Now, what is your role here? It's a volume driven business. Okay, the more the EPC contracts, the more you get your revenue between that 19 to 120 days. That's a working capital cycle. When you come to product manufacturing, the margins are typically 13 to 15%. Here what happens is, again, the cash flow is pretty much captive. You initially invest and then you get it, here again you capture the margins. But the new thing, which is a build, own, operate, this is an annuity based asset based ownership. Here typically the equity IRR, please note, this is not the project IRR, this is the equity IRR, which is around 13 to 14%, which is which is quite lucrative. Now here, this whole thing is annuity based, means like, you get the contract from 12 to 25 years. Part of it you fund and part of it is funded by another investing company, or one of the debt, one of the companies or the bank loans that you take, and this is where you derive your IRR. Now, where does PACE kick in and what is their moat? See, typically what happens is, when you import the cell, you pay around 5% import duty. Okay, and when you buy the cell, you pay 5% import duty. Then you also have your. Sometimes what happens is, in India currently there is nobody who is doing from cell to container. Now I'll tell you what it is, because there is a process for entire BESS. Here what happens is, companies are importing the entire containers, which there the import duty is pretty high. Then they add up their vendor margin, and their EPC margin is also pretty low. So if you look at a typical EPC player, your standard IRR is around 12 to 14%. Now let's come to PACE. This is where the differentiation occurs. What happens is, the cell cost is typically around 5%, whereas here the entire container will be around close to 10%. Now that itself gives you the margin arbitrage. Here you've imported the cells, then there is an in-house manufacturing which happens for the rest of the value addition. Then you add your EPC margin, you also capture the duty arbitrage. So your effective group IRR becomes around 19 to 20%. The other thing is also the service mode. So when you get the container, when you import the container, what happens is, you do not get that required service, and there could be lag, and obviously in such projects you cannot afford to have any lag. So there is a clause which says you have to have the 95% availability at all time. Now that cannot be possible when you're importing your containers, whereas with PACE you also have a local support, spares and all that stuff. So that mitigates the risk of having such kind of downtime, which companies usually cannot afford. Now, does this company, now we might ask a lot of questions, there are many players in the industry, what's so special about this, so I'll come to that. See, what happens is, typically there are many players in the market, but each of the players are only playing certain part of this whole BESS value chain. Now, the process goes like this. First, you get the cell, or you import the cell. Then you get the cells packed into something known as modules, which are here. Modules get clustered into battery packs. You put all the battery packs into racks, and these racks become containers here. And containers, you get it into something like your management system, whereas you are able to look at the electricity flow, look at the grid stability, etc. That's not the only thing. You're also integrating that to the final output, which is the grid. Now this is the whole BESS value chain. Now, some companies are only operating at just manufacturing lithium-ion cells. Some companies might be only doing this. Some companies are only doing EMS integration. But where PACE has the advantage is, they are the largest BESS manufacturers from this cell to this container. Okay, this is where they step in and their speciality kicks in. Currently in India, nobody apart from PACE Digitech is doing this kind of a value addition. That's the key moat. Whether this moat could be replicated, possible, but they do have a headway of at least next 3 to 4 years, because to replicate something like this is not very easy, because you need to have the required facility, required expertise. It will take a standby time of at least about 4 to 5 years, or maybe maximum, if you're very efficient, of about 2 to 3 years. So from that perspective, yes, the moat could be compromised, but it will take at least 3 to 4 years. From that way, we have a headway in terms of further advantage, or a first mover advantage, I might call it. Now, coming back to competitors, as I'd earlier mentioned, again, Kevin, there are multiple players, because BESS is a huge industry. See, there is a complete process which goes on. First, you get the raw materials. Then there is a processing which happens where you get the specialty grade materials and all that stuff. So when you get raw materials like your lithium ion, cobalt and all that stuff, that's where companies like MOIL and Hindustan Zinc comes into play. But they are not direct competitors. They are only looking at one particular sector. Then you have something like processing, where you refine the raw materials and make the battery grade chemicals. Now this is where all your HSCl, your Neogen and your PCBL comes into picture, where typically your technical knowledge and expertise matters. So again, they are not direct competitors. Then you come into the cell manufacturing, like lithium ion battery manufacturing. Again, we import the cells, so we don't go there. If you come across like that, and if you filter in, there are few of the key players who are somewhere directly or indirectly competing with PACE, but not completely. So one is Bondada Engineering. If you may say, they are a very strong EPC players. Of course, they've got all the metrics right, but what they lack is a deep manufacturing backward integration. They cannot compete at present. Again, I reiterate the fact, at present, with PACE. Then Exicom Telesystem is another company. They are again direct competitors in EV charging. They have high hand holding in EV charging, but they again trade at a very premium valuation compared to PACE. Similarly, on HFCL and Indus Towers, both of them are a very legacy infrastructure players. Again, the key constraints are HFCL deals with a very heavier asset base and very distinct margin profile. Indus Towers, we know that they have a very relative margin velocity. So net, what we're trying to say is that from manufacturing to EPC to O&M flywheel, this is where it is kind of setting them aside from its competitors. A quick overview of the financial snapshot. The current market capitalization, this was done around 4-5 days ago, so there could be a slight difference. So the market capitalization is around 3560 crores. Current price is around 161. Now what I want to emphasize here is your consolidated, the last year the consolidated PAT was around 279 crores. You notice one thing, they've got a very healthy ROC and return on equity. Now, one thing, if you actually go back to their financial metrics, we will notice that in 2003, the whole revenue was close to 500 crores. But in 24 and 24, they completely jumped. There was a complete transformation. Why? Because they got a huge order worth 6,600 crores from BSNL, which is what they are executing. So that completely transformed the company from a very small player to a very noticeable player in the market. Now, the order book, they also have a very healthy order book pipeline. They have current order book close to about 8,467 crores as of January 26. What they've also recently done is they came up with an IPO, which I'll get into it in some time. This IPO was mainly to fund their BOO projects and also deleverage their balance sheet. As a result, their debt equity, they currently, I think, they have debt about 151 crores approximately after infusing this money, and their debt equity ratio is very healthy. It's about 0.1. And if you actually notice their the asset turnover and all, it's close to about 8x. So that way they have a very healthy balance sheet, and they have a very healthy balance sheet. They recently did the IPO, which was they came up with an IPO in the October 2025 for about 820 crores. What they've done is, after the net of all the expenses, they've pumped in around 630 crores for this MSEDL BESS project. Okay, so what they're doing is they're doing the complete procurement of lithium-ion cells in the civil works of close to 100 megawatts to 200 megawatts for MSEDL, which is Maharashtra board. Then part of it also went into the debt repayment as well, which is what I mentioned, wherein they're deleveraging their balance sheet, and the rest of it for the corporate purposes. So what we can notice, it's not like an OFS where it's an offer for sale, or the promoter is kind of getting off the company. The capital infusion is directly related to the asset creation and in the high margin renewable energy. Let's closely look at what is happening current quarter, because this was recently listed in October 25. So post which we are able to monitor as to what they are doing and how they are working things. So the order book as on January was 8,467 crores. If you look at their profit, the revenue from operations was around 644 crores, and the profit after tax, the PAT, is around 78 crores. This is for this quarter. Their EBITDA margin is around 18.3%, which is quite healthy. Their PAT is around 11.3. Now, just remember this 11.3%. I'll come back to the significance of this a little later. Currently, they've delivered close to about 200 megawatts per hour, and 125 megawatts is still getting commissioned. And they've also executed 1674 million of worth of order in the energy vertical as well. Now, coming back to this slide, if you see, the revenue is around 644 crores in Q3 FY26. It was around 5672 in Q3 FY25. So there is an increase in the revenue close to about 13.5. Now I'll come here, wherein if you see, the gross profit margin is slightly reduced. It was 32.9 in the Q3 25, and it is currently 26.3. Now now obviously this will have a cascading effect on your PAT as well, which is again slowly reduced here, and EBITDA also, which is slightly reduced. Now the reason for this reduction in the profit margin, the PAT margin, and the EBITDA margins are the change in the product mix, because earlier the revenues were heavily concentrated on the telecom and the ICT sectors. Now it's slowly moving to BESS, so that is where you see the change. But this should actually stabilize in the coming quarters as per the management. Again, if you look at, the company has got a very strong financials. Their FY23 to 25 CAGR was close to about 312%. Obviously, you see the transition here from 23 to 25. They've really grown. The same thing with revenue, the same thing with gross profit, as well as the PAT margins as well. So what formed this transition is that huge order which came in from BSNL, which was close to about 6,600 crores. No, this is all fine. So let's quickly get into where, what are their key strengths and where are the areas of opportunities. Obviously, because they have the lineage power, they are able to integrate all the manufacturing. They are able to produce in-house products. They have a huge order book, and obviously they have a net debt-free status. The debt equity ratio is quite negligible. Weaknesses are their current working capital cycle. If you actually see, is around 276 days. Now, why this is? Because see, most of the part of the revenue comes from the telecom sector. So obviously the payments are slightly delayed in the government. So that being the case, the working capital intensity increases here. That's one thing they need to keep in mind, and they are trying to make certain changes, which is obviously change in the offering mix, which could probably get this down. Then the second thing is a tender-based revenue bidding. See, they have bid to a lot of projects where they are the L1. The L1 means the lowest bidders for the project. Now, that also is another thing where they have to really undercut margins. Now, they are working on it slowly so that, they move away from this and they look at more of best projects. What are the other threats? It could possibly aggressive competition. Obviously, some competitors are trying to get into this field. As I earlier mentioned, we still have about 3 to 4 years of headway where they could probably compete with us. Raw material volatility again, because currently we're importing cells from China, so there could be raw material fluctuation. Then the technology itself can become obsolete, and that is because now a lot of AI and AI integrated and data centers are happening, so new technologies might also come in, so that could be another reason that could pose a possible threat for us. The opportunities we discussed initially, the best capacity expansion, they are planning to target close to about 10 gigawatts. I'll explain that in detail. They're also looking at expanding their market presence in countries like Saudi Arabia and Kenya, where the demand drivers are demand is quite high, and the profit margins also could be quite high. But this is still not in the execution stage. And obviously, the 5G transition, which is giving them that bandwidth. Okay. So, what is it that they are going to do and how they want to go ahead? One is they would like to be net debt free, which they are already working on. They would like to strengthen the in house manufacturing. They are currently looking at funding the 10 gigawatts expansion. They are also trying to protect margins against the tender wars. As I mentioned, in L1 bidding, they will have very low margins. They are trying to look at moving consciously to the BOO projects and the other EPC projects. So their margins are improvised. Then international diversification, looking at other foreign markets. Now, how each of this could yield value to them? See, when you look at in-house, the first thing, when you look at this in-house manufacturing, you're doing a backward integration through the lineage power subsidiary. So you are manufacturing your SMPS, your DC systems, etc. This typically reduces the reliance on the external supply chains and they protect your margins. That's point one. Then second thing is if you're doing a turnkey EPC execution, what you're also doing is a seamless deployment of all your products and services. So you're handling a complex site installation from telecom tower erection to the OFC, also laying the utility scale solarization and BESS integration. That is where you will have about a 1 or 2 bips of increase in the margins. Now, the third thing is the annuity based. Typically, the contract lasts from 1 to 10 years or maybe 12 to 25 years contracts, where you get a monthly annuity, and then this creates your regular cash flow. So you don't have a lumpy EPC revenue; you will have regular revenue streams. So that is where this whole integrated value chain is bringing in that required extra edge. So, okay. The strategic restructuring and unlocking value. Now, Pace Digitech has also formed another holding company known as Styrenix Energy. Now, why is this? This particular company will help hold all the BOO related projects. Under this, you form a special purpose vehicle, that's SPV. Now they manage all the projects so that the parent balance sheet looks deleveraged, and they also will be able to raise the debt or the equity fundraising without diluting the parent company. So that's pretty much the reason why they have created this Transgreen Energy Private Limited. Also, there could be a possibility, since they are heavily concentrating on the BOO projects, there could be value unlocking going forward as well. See, currently they are managing close to about 3,250 crore worth of the order book under this Styrenix Energy Private Limited. Obviously, any such company, we talk about all the metrics, but what we need to focus on and how much order do they have, how much have they executed, and where are we currently. So the total target for the energy segment as of March 26 is 10,000 crores. Okay, and out of which 6,000 has already been awarded and 4,000 crores is pending. It's in pipeline. Telecom segment, you have around 2,400 crores worth of order. Out of this, as per the management, 40% of the BESS order book will be executed in FY27. So they are looking at a revenue visibility of 3,200 crores. Just remember this number, please, 3,200 crores. The current revenue for this year was around 2,400. So the management is posing a revenue visibility of 3,200 crores, which means we are roughly talking about 29% there. Then this order book, what I mentioned, how have they split? So the when I mentioned this telecom segment of 2,400, where is it coming from? Partly it is coming from the tower infra EPC, and the rest of all the tower infra OFC and EPC plus OFC, as well as the power equipment services. The key marquee clients are BSNL, Tata, RNS, and Tafinet. So what it tries to say is they are cultivating deep relationships with all these telecom operators and public sector entities. So what happens is they drive repeat orders and they have lower acquisition costs, which also drives up their margin. Now, where our focus is the BOO, which is going to take the company to the next level. The current order book value is about 6,000 crores. This is into three parts. Part of it is coming from BOO, part of it is from the EPC, and part of it is from the supply. Now, in BOO, currently they're doing one project which is worth 1850 crores. Now, the IPO which they had done, the part of the funding has gone into this MSCDL project. For the rest of the projects, they are also in touch with the other investors who could be able to fund these projects in terms of the loan. For example, the KPTCL and the Mango, all these projects, they are speaking to the investors where they can also take maybe around 75% part of the debt as well. The other projects are from Bondada as well as Larsen and Toubro. Where are we getting here is because companies having an early mover positioning in the BESS, which enables them to have a repeatable execution and a life cycle revenue generation. So as I'd earlier mentioned, they created this company known as TransGreenX Energy Private Limited. They are the asset holding company and they are managing a current order book of 3,250 crores. Now, what happens here is they are creating long-term operating assets, which is in line with the grid scale energy demand. They are also improving the project economics through the manufacturing integration, which is in-house, and the life cycle ownership of the project, which will be around 12 to 25 years. So this gives you a predictable cash flow, which is also supported by the contract offtake and long-term O&M projects. Now, we know that there is a huge BESS opportunity. We know that the orders are kicking in, but is a company in place to handle this kind of an expansion? The answer is yes. And how are we getting there? Point one, the existing capacity is around 2.5 gigawatts. The additional capacity is already commissioned, and the target the company has given is around Q4 of 26. Okay. The third thing is they're also planning to add another 2.5 gigawatts. So technically, we are looking at 7.5 gigawatts by FY27, and the Q4 of FY27 we will be looking at close to 10 gigawatts. Now, as on the completion of March, as per the management, what they have mentioned is they already have 6 gigawatts worth of order book in hand, and their capacity is around 7.5 gigawatts by the next Q2 of FY27. So there is a very healthy order book pipeline, so they don't have to be worried about the capacity utilization. They've also started the in-house container fabrication facility. Now this is almost 80% complete, under 80% completed. They're targeting Q1 of FY27. Now this container fabrication facility, what we're talking about is this is the last part of the whole value integration, wherein all the battery packs and the racks and everything will be probably set in this entire container. Right now, a lot of companies, even Pays used to import this, but now they are manufacturing this here in-house. So what are we essentially saying here? So this backward integration helps them in controlling container costs. It helps them improve delivery timelines and also enhance the margins. So typically there is an energy transition, and there is a telecom infrastructure growth and the policy support, which is acting as a fulcrum directly and indirectly, riding favorable macroeconomic and policy tailwinds, which is indirectly and directly helping PACE Digitech to reach where they want to be. That's the gist of this. Now, obviously, in any business, there's a lot of risk involved. So there is a what if scenario. Now, what if your lithium ion cells are primarily imported? Obviously, there's going to be a huge price fluctuation. The company is also doing research in terms of, rather than only looking at lithium ion, they're also looking at the other wave. Like, you have a flow ion batteries and you have sodium batteries. So the company is also looking at trying to mitigate only the lithium ion price fluctuation, looking at other technologies as well. So we can say that they're moving towards chemistry agnostic inverters also, and scaling in-house container fabrication. The other thing is, obviously, the state electricity boards are lousy payers, and this probably will help threaten the BOO model. So what they're doing is they're isolating projects, which I earlier mentioned. The BOO projects will be under Styrenix. So what they're doing is they ensure that the parent company's balance sheet remains insulated from all this local working capital stress. A lot of other players probably might be entering, which we discussed. But here, because Space Telecom has synergies established over last 18 years, and they also provide a service mode as well from just a pure hardware manufacturers, it's very difficult for the competitors to replicate this easily. So there we have a headway. Lastly, technical. See, when PACE Digitech, we have data only from October because it was listed in October. It listed around 219, and it went up till 231. Currently, it's around 161. This is the weekly chart of PACE Digitech. Currently, it is at 161. There is a huge support. If you see, there is a double bottom which is formed here. So this acts as a strong support as well. The next support is around 187, and there is another strong support at 202. So I think with all this, probably, the other thing is the PE of this company is quite low. It is close to about 13. But if you notice the kind of management guidance what they've given, see, currently it's around 2,400 crores, and the management has given a guidance of about 3,200 crores for the next fiscal year. If you look at that, and on that thing, and if you look at 11% margin also, if you allocate a PE of about 20 to 22, so we are seeing a good upside here. So on that note, I think technically as well as from the valuation perspective, this looks quite attractive, and they are also ready for the next jump. So from that way, the company is looking quite lucrative at this point in time. The takeaway: they've got a great value proposition, and they've got a huge proven scale. Their integrated model seems to be working quite well. They are also future ready to address the future competitive markets, and also ready for the 5G and BESS as per the kind of order value, the kind of execution capabilities, the expansion capabilities that we have seen. Hence, we feel that they're ready for the next leap. And with that, I close my notes. Probably this is again not a recommendation for buy and sell. Please do your due diligence when you look into this stock. I've just tried to give you enough information in terms of what this company could do and where it could get from here. Thank you so much.
Yeah, wonderful presentation, Sheetalji. I think one question was there which you already answered on the risk. But one of the other risk could be the BSNL here. The lot of the order book is coming from BSNL at this point of time until we get the order book expanded to 10,000 crore or so from the other players. But transformation, I think you covered really well. Thanks a lot for this.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Any audience have? Please let people know, or you can put on the chat as well. Any political affiliation on this company?
No, they don't have any political affiliation as of now, not that we know of.
Okay. Okay. Great. Thank you, Sheetalji. We can move to the next presenter now. And in case you have guys questions, put in the chat for Sheetalji, can take it from there.
Hi, Puneet. My voice is audible?
Yes, your voice is audible.
Okay.
I think we started with a bang for the first two companies. Great, guys. Yeah, Sheetal, you can stop sharing and then Prajot can do it. Yeah.
Let me know once my screen is visible.
Yes, it is.
Okay, let me put it in presentation mode. Yeah, is it in presentation mode?
Yep. Go ahead.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone, and happy Women's Day to all the women participants here. Today, I will be presenting a company called Styrenix Performance Material. So these days, me, including all of us, have been searching for like companies in aerospace, EMS, and all those things. So this time I thought that, okay, let's try to go into the other part of spectrum and see if there is anything contrary and boring business uh, and something that is happening there. So this is Styrenix Performance is a commodity cum specialty chemical company, extremely cyclical, and right now um, it's a contrarian bit to what is currently ongoing in market. So in a one-liner thesis for Styrenix would be it is pivoting from MNC cash cow for almost a decade towards a growth first organization. How we will go? We will first understand the product, what is happening, what are the growth catalysts, what happened in past, um, why it is a good business now. As I said, deeply cyclical. So how their margins fluctuate and why it fluctuate, what could go wrong, charts and everything. So let's first start with understanding the product. Uh, Styrenix Performance Material is actually a manufacturer of ABS. So as you can see on screen, ABS, acrylonitrile, butadiene, styrene. So ABS is a polymer which is created from three distinct monomer. So in a very, very simple language, as the name suggests, monomer, let's consider it as a single unit. So when multiple single units come together, a polymer is formed. So acrylonitrile, butadiene, and styrene. So these three are monomers. When they come together, uh, the chemistry happens and we get ABS. So if you see the acrylonitrile, uh, the specialty of this monomer is it is chemically resistant and extremely highly stable. So any like acid or such type of chemical will not cause any issue to acrylonitrile. Butadiene is for toughness and impact strength. So any hard impact on that engineering plastic, it will survive. So it becomes more tougher. And styrene is for rigidity and glossy finish. Um, as you could see on the screen, on left, I colored it in red. If acrylonitrile is not there, the engineering plastic will actually melt or dissolve because of any chemical reaction. If butadiene is not there, the engineering plastic will be brittle as glass, so it will kind of break. And if styrene is not there, the engineering plastic will be kind of dull or like a soft rubber, cannot take a shape and form. Why it is important to know is, as you could see, uh, the ABS product and its application. So Absolac is a specialty ABS and it is used for high aesthetics and performance. So as you could see on the right side, every car, bike, mirrors and everything, the plastic that is used is actually ABS. And along with that, as you could see the second image, the fridge doors, washing machines, mixers, and most of the daily stuff that we use for consumption. That plastic is engineering plastic, and that is mainly ABS, acrylonitrile butadiene styrene. Epsilon is a transparent and stiff styrene polymer. So as you could see, we use a lot of cosmetics, bottles, pen, glassy mixers. So all those use epsilon version of ABS. So with this slide, you got a basic understanding of ABS, and you could relate that ABS is basically for strength and longevity. So wherever the engineering plastic requirement for strength and longevity is there, ABS will be used. So ABS is the main product of Styrenix performance. The next product is polystyrene. So polystyrene is a synthetic polymer made from styrene monomer. So as you could see, for ABS, you need acrylite, butadiene, and styrene. For polystyrene, you only need styrene. So it is just a synthetic polymer made from monomer styrene. It is famous for its clarity and rigidity. So as you could see on screen, so there are like a couple of polystyrene. One is general purpose, as the name suggests, GPPS, and another is HIPS, which is high impact. So as you could see, the general purpose, all those plastic containers that we see around, all those plastic containers within the fridge, and pens and all those things where they are general purpose polystyrene. So polycarbonate we can call like polycarbonate GPPS. High impact polystyrene, they are blended with rubber for toughness. So as you could see, the coolers, water purifiers, AC mounted on wall, all those are high impact polystyrene. So styrenic performance material has two products. One is ABS, as you could see on the first slide, for strength and longevity. One is polystyrene for cost and moldability. So these are very highly moldable product and available at a lower cost. So apart from that, there are like some specialty polymers which are like styroalloy and aslac. And as the image you can see within our cars on our dashboard, we see those AC ducts and all. So whatever engineering plastic that is used around on the dashboard is actually high performance styrenic blend. And then aslac, weather resistance. So this polymer is actually highly resistant to weather. So you could see that the plastic around like mirror. So whichever part of a car, like low grill, fog cover, which is exposed to different types of weather, is actually aslac. So in short, these are the product portfolio of Styrenic Performance. As you could see, if you take all their products together, these are the applications where they are used, like automotive, electronics, healthcare, construction, household, toys, sport, leisure, packaging. These days, with growth of e-commerce, a lot of plastic packaging requirements have been there around. As you could see on the screen, if India's GDP has to double over next 5 years, or the growth that has to happen in India, most of these sectors should have a structural growth. And that's where this company sits at the center of it. So, so far we have understood the product, how it is made, where the applications are. Now quickly move to what is changing. It's a very interesting corporate development that has happened in this company few quarters back. Shiva Performance Material is a company which has reacquired Styrenix from INE OS Group. Well, In late 90s, Mr. Rakesh Agarwal from Shua Group was the one who actually formed this company. They ran this company for almost more than a decade. Then this company got sold to Bayer. From there, it went to BASF. Then it went to INEOS. And eventually, the Shua Group has bought this company back few quarters earlier. What was happening before Shua Group came in picture was, for almost more than a decade, this was like a sleepy MNC generating rich cash flows. But it was as is. There was not like much growth plans and all those things. With MNC parentage, and they were using this company as a cash cow. Now, with the more agile, opportunistic, and aggressive management in place, I look at it as a strategic pivot. The people who are managing the show now, Mr. Rakesh Agarwal, Rahul Agarwal, and Vishar Agarwal, and you could see their credentials. You could understand that they know chemistry very, very well. And all of them have been extremely experienced in this domain. Now, the first thing that they did once they have taken the control of India business was they have started optimizing the cost and debottlenecking the processes. So that is what happens when an able and more agile management who understand the business comes and takes the management control. The first focus they do is how they can efficiently run a business that is already existing. And second, they have put a focus towards a rapid capacity expansion to capture growing domestic demand. This is very interesting change that is happening, which is also one of the very important point to look at this business as a contrarian and deeply cyclical. So what is the growth catalyst and what is the capex that is happening? So all ABS players in India, Bansali Engineering, Supreme Petrochem is also putting some capacity, and Styrenix, all of them putting together are not even able to suffice even a 50% of the demand for ABS that we have in India. So remaining 50 to 55% is fully imported, and even of that, 93% is imported from Korea and Taiwan. If executed well, and if we back the management for their experience, the capacity expansion can significantly benefit Styrenix performance material as a part of Make in India and import substitution. So apart from strategic management pivot, import substitution becomes the second trigger, because we still have very heavy dependence on import. So in terms of capacity expansion, as you can see on the screen, there are like two brownfield expansion that is ongoing. The phase 1 should complete mid-calendar this year. Phase 2 equivalent plus 50 KTPA capacity by FY28. So total 100 KTPA ABS capacity should come up. By late 26, the phase 1 should go on stream and meaningful volumes should be visible in FY27. Please note, cyclical business are not to be tracked quarter to quarter. These are long haul businesses. You position yourself for some time, need a lot of patience, and then meaningful outcomes come. Phase 2 capacity ahead of schedule, full capacity should come FY28. They have 4 manufacturing unit, as you can see, and as you could see, like ABS rubber, Epsilon, Epsilop, and polystyrene. So you could clearly see that the ABS and polystyrene PS, the capacities are increasing. So that is where there is a demand and import substitution possibilities are there. And these are forward-looking numbers, but take it a little bit with a pinch of salt, but that's how the things should work. Currently, the ABS and SAN business should have a top line of say 1500. Should in couple of years should cross 2000 crores, and polystyrene, which is around, should go around 1380 crores. So this is what the capacity expansion looks like. Demand scenario, the domestic polymer demand is growing around 6 to 7% per year. The appliances growth is 4 to 9%, and auto 4 to 5%. China plus one sourcing shift support pipeline. Q1 is muted, Q2 rebound is expected. Haven't come as it was expected, but in cyclical business this happens. There is in FY26 10% volume growth expected, and the full benefits of expansion should start coming from FY28. Funding of capex mostly via internal accrual, all via operating cash flow. Also, by not having debt on Indian business, there is a lot of headroom if they want to take debt for additional expansion. The management has not said that they will do. We have discussed the management change. We have discussed import substitution. We have discussed capacity expansion. Now the fourth trigger is operating leverage. So very recently, they have acquired INUS Styro Solutions Thailand unit for $20 million. So Thailand unit has equivalent capacity as India. They got it very, very cheap. Now the turnaround for Thailand unit is in progress, and because the turnaround will take some time, the consolidated numbers look little weaker. With Thailand unit, the capacity for ABS and SAN will double. The Thailand unit is highly technology centric. They have new grades of ABS, refrigerant liners, and new tech rubber products. This will give them a high value added product mix and operating leverage and a very strong possibility of margin expansion. Thailand unit also serves to major OEMs across China, Japan, and Korea. They already have product tie-up with all those OEMs there. Obviously, it expands their export ability. The tech transfer from Thailand unit to India, and then according capacity expansion on the cards. They also have a UAE subsidiary, and that's the first step for company going, for global growth. This is a very, very important execution metric that we will have to track. And if executed well, this can take company into a very different trajectory altogether over next 3 to 5 years. So these are all the kind of growth catalyst and capex that they have been doing. When we look at this company, and if you look at their last 10 years performance under the MNC parentage, we have to think a little differently here. So past is not the impression for the future. The growth catalyst that we have discussed so far, that could accrue a lot of market share gains for this company over next 3 to 5 years. So the volume growth should be around 15%, led by demand from automobile, appliances, stationery, packaging. The image that I've shown you, the usage is across there, multiple grades of ABS, polystyrene, and everything. The higher disposable incomes in India, easy consumer credit availability, and growing working population. These should eventually consume automobile, appliance, stationery, packaging, and food delivery. If that happens, the market share gain is on the cards for Styrenix. EVs use 50% more ABS compared to ICE engine. If at all the EV tailwind grows, if at all the EV growth happens in India, the consumption of ABS will grow further. For example, if the EV growth happens 5 to 6%, the ABS requirement should grow by 8 to 10%. So that is the tailwind. EMS currently contributes very minimal, but if electronic manufacturing grows just from being an assembly to a real manufacturing, the engineering plastic will be the proxy and a big beneficiary of this theme. And then global market potential. So volume growth is anyway there in India. If the Thailand operation turns around, it could give a company a big operating leverage. Currently, it is operating deleverage and hence cyclical. If it turns into operating leverage, it would be a big booster. Margin improvement is expected through highly specialty product, and that could deliver earnings of 15 to 18% over next 3 to 5 years. So this is how the things may look like over next 3 to 5 years. Now, what is good about this business? The India operations are debt free. Even being in cyclical business, they are debt free. All fund capex is funded through internal accrual. There would be some subsidiary level debt at Thailand division. What is the moat? So, as you would have understood by now, when I discussed about the product, the scale, this business is all about scale and capital intensity, not for like any company to come and put the capacity and all of that. Also, whatever product that they make, they have to be certified, licensed, or validated through customer, and there are long approval cycles. So it's not easy to simply replace. So if I understand correctly, it's a very credible moat. The ROE and ROC about 24%. So it is a very highly capital efficient business. Customization mode, as I have explained you, like multiple products. So there 60% of business is delivered from long-standing, non-commoditized customer relationship. They have tailor-made products and very sticky customers. The beauty with cyclicals is when cycle starts improving, all your ratios start going towards the best days. So even working capital cycle, which is currently around 60-70 days, should gradually move towards 30 days, which was the best possible time they have. And import substitution is a structural theme. Interestingly, there is a huge demand for ABS. There is no local supply of ABS which will match that demand. And eventually, we expect that with capacity expansion, SPML should fill that gap. All the Atmanirbhar Bharat, which is being promoted, so most of the domestic player will also prefer domestic sourcing if they get that quality product or that customized product as per their needs. Because in current geopolitics, there are a lot of Red Sea crisis, shipping delays, inventory issues, and all those things. So this is what is good about this business. Now, if everything is good and the narrative appears very convincing and all of that, we must not take our eyes off a margin conundrum. A conundrum means a very difficult question to answer or think of. Any chemical business, the joker of the pack is crude oil. So all the raw material that chemical businesses or paint businesses derive from crude oil. So as you can see on the screen at the top, it goes like crude oil to naphtha. From naphtha, you prepare benzene and ethylene. then ethyl benzene, then styrene monomer, and styrene monomer to ABS and polystyrene. As I was studying this company, I was very fascinated of why a capital efficient and strong promoters are key to execution, because as you could see here, from crude oil, all crude oil is a raw material, ABS polystyrene is an end product, and the things that are within that will dictate a lot of things. ABS, acrylonitrile, is fully imported, butadiene is locally sourced, and styrene is fully imported. Now, interestingly, when acrylonitrile has a very high capacity in China, but whenever there is overcapacity in China and acrylonitrile prices fall, Styrenix performance get benefited hugely because of that, because they get a very cheap raw material. Against that, the third monomer, which is styrene, volatile styrene prices actually impact their margin, because as you could see, styrene monomer is a downstream derivative of crude oil. So growth in crude oil could actually increase prices of styrene monomer. Eventually, there will be an impact of margin. My first impression was this impact will always be negative. But as I started studying this business, there were some blind spots that have come to, and it was really interesting to learn. The price volatility of the above three monomer can actually compress or inflate the spread and impact the margins, which is very interesting. I'll tell you why. When the styrene monomer price increases, the company has a formula-based pricing mechanism. Now, what happens if your raw material price increase, you pass those price increases to your customer. But what end up happening is, when you pass those to customer and when you look in the balance sheet, your top line grows because you got a better pricing power, but your margins get compressed. And that is a cyclicality, and that is the deeply cyclical nature of these businesses, and that is why it is very fascinating. So on the right corner, if you see what is the impact of rising oil revenue, you will see a positive revenue impact, because if the raw material is increased, your end product price increases, you will see a higher realization at a revenue level. But long-term impact stable because it is linked to demand. Gross spread negative, but in bracket temporary compression. What happens is, because if the styrene price increases because of crude oil, the end margin will have an impact, but because of formula-based pricing mechanism, the impact will be passed on to a customer not right away, but in lagging quarters. Hence, over a long term, the impact is neutral. Inventory, now it is very interesting. If the company keeps a lot of inventory of ABS, and if the prices fail, that's a big challenge, because you have an inventory at a higher price and then you have to sell it at a market price. Same way, if they have an inventory and the prices rise, they will start getting inventory gains. What I found is, over a long term, it will be neutral. And hence, I was mentioning that such businesses should not be looked from quarter to quarter, but over a long haul. So what we need to do, we need to get the trajectory right, the business cycle right, the right management, right catalyst in play, and then over a period of time, the businesses should deliver. So, and then competitiveness, positive, import become costlier, and long-term impact is also positive because it drives the domestic sourcing. So win-win both ways. Formula-based pricing, what it is? So prices are revised periodically, monthly or quarterly, based on pre-agreed formula that account for moving average of raw material cost and exchange rate. So the prices adjust itself based on the moving average of a raw material cost and exchange rate. So that's very interesting, and that's why the company is very capital efficient, and that's why you could see a very, very strong ROEs and ROCs for this business, except the fact that their dependency on a raw material. So this slide is very important to understand the margin conundrum, and we must know that we cannot know how the margins will behave, but what we know through this slide is how they behave, what would be the immediate impact, and what would be the long-term impact. What could go wrong in this business? As I just mentioned, margin conundrum, the raw material risk. As you could see on screen, look at the 2021 and 2022 margins of these companies when the world was really dealing with COVID, supply chain shocks, Red Sea crisis. The margins just shot up to 40% plus. And then, in a year prior, in 2020, 17%. Earlier, 2019, 16%, and then 33%. So you could see that there is a heavy fluctuation in their gross profit margins. Same way for Styrenix. The margins of Styrenix are subdued compared to Bansali Engineering. Reason being, were run by MNC, sleepy management, not really looking for debottlenecking or growth and all of that. But things will look very different over next 5 years. Cyclicality in market. The company has their customers mainly from automotive and consumer electronics. Both are cyclical. Say, for example, economic recession, AI impact on jobs, which can kind of impact consumption. Economic slowdown can impact the purchasing power of Indian household. If they start buying less, the demand can go less. Capex execution delays. If the capex that we discussed, the Indian capex as well as turnaround of Thailand operations and all of that, they may lose their first moving advantage in domestic import substitution and possibly lose some market share to competition. Thailand operations, if there is a delay in integration of Thailand operations, tech transfer, prolonged underutilization, then what is currently happening, the operating deleverage that can continue, and that could impact the consolidated balance sheet of Styrenix Performance Material. These are the things that could go wrong over next 3 to 5 years. Now, let's quickly go to the technical chart. This is a monthly chart, by the way. One candle represent 1 month of price action. As you could see here, from 3200 levels, the stock is around 1860 now. Last 3 months, there are early signs of seller exhaustion. As you could see, the last 3 candles are more or less around like 1800 level, and there they are hovering. While in the last 3 months, market has significantly corrected. So early green shoots are visible, not to be considered that this is the bottom, but early green shoots are surely visible. Whatever we have discussed, from product to growth catalyst to what is good about business, what can go wrong, we should have 3 scenarios: bull case, base case, and bear case. So let's take a bull case. If expansion gets commissioned early, happens on time, the Thailand unit turns profitable, start like 8% margin, and crude stabilizes around $75 over a medium to long period of time, the bull case scenario. When you look at the chart, consider the top level to be a bull case scenario. So very easy. We don't even need to think about numbers in terms of target. Looks a doubler from here. Base case scenario, 10 to 12% volume growth in India. Expansion remains on track with H2 FY27, and EBITDA margins remain average around 12 to 13%. The base case scenario, as you could see right side on the chart, 78.6% Fibonacci retracement. So the stock in a base case should be somewhere there over next 2-3 years. A bear case scenario, sustained high styrene prices, significant delay in capex, slowdown in Indian auto sector, consumer electronics sector, and all of that. Thailand unit doesn't get operational. I could see that the 23.6% Fibonacci retracement around 1300 level, or 100-month moving average, which is around 1477. So the picture is very clear on this chart. And if you keep tracking how the business is performing, if you keep tracking next 2-3 quarters of if management is walking the talk, everything is there on this chart of how the price should behave. What is interesting in the investor section? So current market price after correction, as you could see in this chart, the blue line, which you could see, the breakout and then retracement. So when the breakout that has happened, what was the trigger of this breakout? So the trigger of this breakout was lot of strong hands and marquee investor have entered around this price in calendar year 2024, as you could see in this chart. Around 1860 range, as you could see the names, Vallabh Bhansali, Enam Investments. Ikigai Emerging Equity Fund is actually run by Pankaj Tibrewal. So those who know Pankaj Tibrewal know that he was the most successful fund manager of Kotak Equity House for 15 years in a row. He was managing Kotak Small Cap Fund. Then we have Bandhan Mutual Fund, Bandhan Small Cap Fund, one of the really strong performing fund, Motilal Oswal Mutual Fund and Nippon India Mutual Fund. So as you could see, there are a lot of strong hands and marquee names which have accumulated this stock around this price range in 2024. The cyclicality of the nature, the business will go up and down, but these investors are not there for a very short period of time. The stock is near those levels, near those retracement levels, hence interesting. What does the management said in the latest conference calls? So as you could see on the screen, our Thailand business, we built inventory during first half and for our Absoloc Epsilon brand respectively. So they had a huge inventory in Thailand, and as the prices for both raw materials have actually considerably lower, then they have to take some inventory losses. Also, currently the transition happening from INEOS product names to Absoloc and Epsilon, and for which they will have to do some revalidation or rebranding exercise, which is happening. As the management says, I would say that 90% of customers have been retained, which were there in Thailand, and we are now selling under our own new brand name and our global brand name, if you will, which is Absoloc and Epsilon. So that is a good progress. By the way, the new management have started doing conference calls and giving detailed presentation, which is also a very good sign. Regarding global scenario, no major shift or change. There is same overcapacity in China, which are existed for several years, and high capacity in Korea and Taiwan and some of the other region. By our own estimate, ABS demand is higher than 350,000 tons, probably around like 370,000. Against the domestic production. So even if the Supreme's capacity is not commercialized, so if we even leave that, it is still less than 50%. So there is a sufficient market opportunity even with additional capacities coming in to sell. So we still remain net importer post all of that in spite of capacities coming in. And I think again, depending on where one chooses to position their product, there is an opportunity size. When the prices fluctuate, what is the fluctuation in
gap, the management says that I think when an inventories were at the peak or when they come down, the gap could be between 20 to 25%, hence the cyclicality. Most of the business, like I said, in ABS, a lot of work is formula basis. So more than 70% of the business works on formula basis. Essentially, again, a lot of these businesses are even governed by volume contract and price contracts for the whole year. So as you could see, the formula based pricing that helps Styrenix run through difficult times. Summarizing, not very complicated. A new management pivot, strategic pivot, capital light growth, world-class asset bought at a very attractive valuation, strong focus on product mix and customer value. They have been laying a groundwork for sustained volume and revenue growth by investing heavily in the future right now. So the numbers may not be visible right now, but they are laying the groundwork. There are market share gains on card, as I said, because there are strong tailwinds for customer industries like automotive, consumer electronics, and all of that. China plus one, import substitution, Atmanirbhar Bharat, lot of things are there. Proxy to key import substitution. While doing all of that, they have the cleanest balance sheet, volume-driven growth, forward-looking capital expenditure, and steadily improving operating metrics. Very underrated, not much tracked, being cyclical. Nobody wants to touch such businesses. Not very social media prone businesses, hence contrarian. So as I conclude my presentation, Howard Mark has a very interesting quote. The most dependable way to make money is by buying an asset for less than what their intrinsic value is or what it is worth. My whole thesis of Styrenix is actually following this quote, finding out whether the business is currently available below its intrinsic value, along with a thought that if the management does walk the talk and if the operating metrics improve, is there a possibility of making money? So yeah, this is my presentation of Styrenix performance material, and I am open to question or if somebody has to discuss anything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
great.
Puneet.
Yeah, great project. I think two, three questions have already come. I think one of you have answered is on the LPG prices going up massively. What could be the impact in the short term? I think you have captured this already in the presentation.
Yes. So always whoever like want to so whenever you want to think of price volatility, just look at this particular slide. So crude oil is the joker of the pack, but remember, very important to understand, the impact will be immediate, but long term the impact will be neutral. So let's consider that through 2026 with geopolitical issue, Iran and all of that, crude oil goes to $100 or $120 and all of that. Margin compression may happen, top line may grow, but the prices will be passed through. Okay. Hence, the crude oil impact will be immediate, but not over a long term. And remember, always go to the first slide. It is deeply cyclical, it is contrarian, and it is pivoting. So anybody who is, has interest in understanding this business, such businesses has to be bought in their worst cycle. अच्छा भाव और अच्छा प्राइस कभी एक साथ नहीं आते, तो अगर आपको अच्छा भाव मिल रहा है तो अच्छा टाइम नहीं चल रहा, जब अच्छा टाइम आएगा तो अच्छा भाव नहीं मिलेगा. So that is the reason why they are cyclical, and that is the reason why it is coming at a retracement. Yeah. Any other question, Puneet?
Yeah, and I think Amar has this question on the free cash flows and other things to be monitored. I think this is a good point. He brought that once the efficiency improves or utilization improves, that itself can blow up the revenues and other things as well.
Yeah, the great thing with this business is the cleanest balance sheet. That's the thing. So when we go for a deeply cyclical business, apart from management, we don't want a leveraged balance sheet. We don't want depressed return ratios, because those are indicators how the business is being run, how the operating metrics are. So on those front, and another very interesting point, that uh, the new management have done all the Indian subsidiary capex through internal accrual. So no debt taken so far. So they know the business, they know the cyclicality, they generate very high cash flows, and that's how they put those cash flows to grow a business. And I think my sense is the timing of buying it from INUS, the India business, is very close to our growth of electronic manufacturing, semiconductors, growth in e-commerce, and growth of India. So the way I look at it is, if all those industries which are here, uh, they continue to grow, the demand for their products will grow. We are still dependent 50 to 55% on import of ABS. So even if all three of them, Bansali Engineering, Supreme Petrochem, and Styrenix, built the capacities, still the distance is too far to catch of like complete import substitution. So they will keep increasing their business. And very rarely see that somebody will try to venture into this business, or somebody will dare to come into this business to disrupt or all of that. So that way, there is a credible moat. Yeah. Any other question?
Yeah, I think more or less other things are covered.
Covered. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Prajot, this is Amar. One quick question.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I look at the period of 2024, early 2024 to like say mid of 2025,
Right.
Styrenix was in a typical bull run where it more than doubled, right? So what were the things? What were the things that went right that time? What are those factors? Because those insights will help us to monitor the proper things for the next bull run.
Amar bhai bhav bhagwan che.
वो तो है.
If you see this chart, can you see this?
Yeah.
Yeah. You said 2024, right? See, this is
Yeah,
where the 2024 is, right?
correct.
Now, if you see here, these are the large volumes that are because of this. Okay. So, lot of marquee investors entered here. Why they
Yeah.
have entered here? The answer is here. Shiva Performance Materials have bought this business from INEOS. Why investor were gung-ho on Shiva Performance? The answer is here. A pivot from an MNC cash cow towards growth first organization. So what was happening is, let's go back to chart. Price has all the answer. So if you see here, this is like prior to even 2020, very sleepy cash cow business, no growth. जो चल रहा है वो चलने देते हैं, cyclicality is there, so it will go up, it will go down. With new management, there is a growth plan that is put in place. Okay. While India business is doing really, really well with high gross margins, very high cash flow, the reason for, let me just also show you, their Thailand business is not yet turned around. Okay. Styrenix. So if you go here, profit and loss, and go standalone and go quarterly. Can you see this? December 2025,
we can see.
12% and operating profit margin. Now go consolidated and look at what happened. 5%.
Yeah.
Okay.
You preempted my question. That is where I was going to come next.
Yes. So,
but this is good.
Yeah. So the Thailand business is right now eating the margins, right? Again, you can go to the presentation and you can see here what can go wrong. Where is that slide? Yeah. Can you see this operating deleverage?
Yeah.
But see, that's the beauty of cycle. Right now, it is operating deleverage. If execution kicks in, it will be an operating leverage. You are sitting on a superb asset bought at attractive valuation, having multiple value-added product, multiple versions of polymer, and you do global export, the Thailand unit. And that is the reason why, again, you go to this chart and look at the bull case scenario. Expansion commissions early, Thailand turns profitable, crude stabilizes around this. This is like if everything goes well, I could see that, I mean, the top Fibonacci can come. Base case 10-12% volume growth, expansion on track. The interesting thing is, let's go here. Look at this. Look at this. It is available at 2 price to book, 0.92 price to sales. So a decent level of ROE, ROC. So decent business retracing to a level where lot of big investors have entered. And if you could see one more thing, investor section, you were asking about 2024, right? Look at
Correct.
this DII. Look at this December 2025, 3 times. Small selling from FII as they are selling everywhere. Hence, FII has gone. And look at this. So even when the share has came back to where they have bought, has anybody of them left? No. Who entered in December quarter? Look, he has increased the stake. So if you go here, look at this 1.67, 2.18, 2.28, 2.48. Right?
Yeah.
So interesting. That's why contrarian. If everything is as we expect it to be, it won't be a contrarian. So this time I decided that let's try something which is complicated, difficult to see, and let's see if thesis plays out and how it works. But nonetheless, it took me a lot of time to study this business. I tried to help you share what I found out in less than half an hour. So hopefully, if you analyze any chemical business, this slide can be of a bit of help of how the margins impact and how things go. So yeah.
Definitely, Prajit. Excellent presentation. Thank you. And we
Yeah.
appreciate all your help on this one.
No, thank you. Thank you so much. And thanks everyone for listening to me. Thank you.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll move to our next presenter, Satish. Satish, you can hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
Yeah, okay. So just to give a small intro for Satish, he is presenting first time here. He's moderating value picker forums from quite long time now. Value picker is one of the original things for the investor community. So before all this Twitter and the blogs and the Substacks took over, I think Value Picker is doing a great job and it helped us to refine our investing style over a period. So now he's leading that. In case you are still on Value Picker or you want to get on Value Picker, just get connected with Satish on this. Thanks, Satish, for giving your time here. And we are all happy to listen to you.
Thanks, Puneet. Thank you all for attending this session. Let me share my screen. I think I'll have to drop off and come back because of some permission issue. Just hold on.
Okay.
Hi, Puneet. Can you allow me to present?
Already I have given you permission as a co-host.
Yeah, I
Okay,
think it.
okay, I will again give you this permission. Yes. Yeah, check now. Yep, we are able to see.
Okay, let me remove this. Is it clear?
Yeah. You
Okay.
can go to the presentation mode. We'll start.
How about now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Satish, and thank you all for attending this session on the Sunday. And I picked this talk by chance. Then I realized it's Women's Day, so looks like it's going great. No? So we'll be discussing about Gargi. This is not a well-known brand in South India. It's a very well-known brand in Maharashtra, Pune, and Mumbai, and those kind of a circles because it's backed by a very large parent, PNGS. So a little bit about Indian jewelry market. So it's somewhere around 7 to 10 lakh crore currently, and probably will hit around 20,000 crore in few years. So fashion jewelry segment is somewhere around 10% in this overall pie. And today we will be focusing on this fashion jewelry segment. Okay. Am I audible properly?
Yes, you are clear.
Okay. And this whole fashion jewelry industry itself is growing at 20% CAGR. Okay. And as of today, unorganized share is very, very high because there is very low entry barrier. And this low entry barrier will not change in future also. That is my understanding. But organized players are trying to build a brand out of this and try to market and increase their pie. Okay. So this is a little bit about how our consumption is in this sector. So region wise, you can see South tops with almost 40%, and East is on the lower end. And since this is related to festive and other seasons like marriage, so there is a lot of seasonality in how these things are sold. So it peaks somewhere in Jan, and again it goes to a trough and starts picking up somewhere in the year end. Okay. And plain gold jewelry um, is on the higher side. So because this will be not based on volume but based on value, so obviously gold jewelry will top here. And daily wear jewelry share is somewhere around 30%, which will be slightly on the lower value side. And fashion jewelry is around 10%, which is the lowest end here. Okay. So as I mentioned, PNG group is a very old group. So it dates back to 2 centuries now. And this is their family tree started by Ganesh Gadgil, and now we are with Govind Gadgil. And there are three groups, so we should not confuse these three when we are looking at PNGS or Gargi stocks here. So the first one, PNG Jewelers, that is a different listed stock. Okay, that is into real gold jewelry, and PNG is not listed anywhere. PN Gadgil and Sons has three segments. One is a real gold jewelry that is not listed. Uh, Gargi by PNGS that is listed in fashion jewelry, and just last week they listed one more, which is Reva, which is into diamond jewelry. So on the revenue side, PNG is around 2000 crore. PNG Jewelers, the listed one, is around 7700 crores odd. And PN Gadgil and Sons, the one which is the parent of Gargi, that is close to 10,000 crores as of 2025. Okay. And that has around 33 stores. So why this store count is important for us is because the way Gargi was established and started was almost like a startup with very little funding and capex and other requirements, because they used these 33 stores to start the fashion jewelry business. So these 33 stores do real gold and diamond jewelry sales, which will be upwards of 1 lakh to 10 lakh kind of a ticket size. So they created a concept called store in store, where they assigned a small space in the existing store and started a fashion jewelry segment. So Gargi got its brand name somewhere around 2021, and within 1 year they listed the stock. So when they listed the stock, Gargi was doing somewhere around 30 crores of top line. Okay, today it's probably above 100 crores, and we can envision that when a 10,000 crore parent is putting a lot of its effort on a very small business, that is not for short term, right? And all the management bandwidth that is currently utilized for Gargi comes from PN Gadgil and Sons parent. So it's the same guys who are running the show. There is no separate professional management as of now. So that probably will change later when Gargi becomes slightly bigger. So Gargi also launched a sub brand under its wings called Utsav. So we will see a little bit about these products later. Okay. And like I mentioned, PNGS Reva Diamond got listed recently. So this is the current management running Gargi, and Govind Gadgil, as we saw, is in the family tree, and Modak is another family which is part of PNGS. So this is based on what management has kind of given us in the last con call. They are the only profitable listed player in this organized fashion jewelry segment. We are talking purely about fashion jewelry. Let's not confuse with real gold jewelry here. Okay. So TTM revenue is somewhere around 140 crore, and they did around 10 crore PAT. And right now they have around 105 touch points. So we will go deeper into how these things are categorized. So coming back to the product portfolio, so they have products under brass, silver, diamond, and special occasions, festive, and other things. So the first four, brass, silver, diamond, and Kundan one, is somewhere around 8 to 12 grams. So which is purely based on silver and real diamonds. Utsav, the sub brand, is slightly on the heavier side, which is for occasions like marriage and functions. So these are some of their products and their price points. As you can see, these are not very expensive, and you don't need entire family visiting a jewelry shop to take any decisions on what to buy. Ideally, if you're buying a real gold jewelry, you probably would consult a lot of people in the family and all, because it's an expensive affair and you would not do it very often. So here, most of these things can be done by a individual without much of a fuss. So this is on the higher side with real diamonds. So there is no lab grown diamond concept with PNGS family right now, including Gargi. So this is about the Utsav brand. As you can see, there is a lot more detailing and heaviness in this. So this is not much of a silver, but more of copper, brass, and other cheaper metals. And this one, as a pilot, they launched in Blinkit in Pune and Maharashtra. So coming back to the stores, so the 33 stores which the parent had, so there we have store in store concept. And then there are other 51 store in store concept, which is part of the shopper stop network. So if you go to any shopper stop store in Bangalore, so you would see Gargi being placed as a kiosk. Then they also started exclusive brand outlets. So this is not there in South India as of now, so I have not seen it. But probably if you are in Maharashtra, Pune, and Mumbai, you should be able to see this exclusive units. So these are all currently company owned and company operated. So they plan to give it for franchises in future. So expansion can be rapid when they decide on that. So FY26, um, they had a target to open around 12. So they already did more than 16. And the store evolution, FY24, it was 72, 25, it is 84. As of Q3, it was 105. So consistent revenue growth, because there are three levers to the growth here. One is store expansion. Second is adding more and more products in the existing stores. And third is not by them, but by the macro forces where gold and silver prices are going up drastically. So they do benefit from that tailwind as of now. So on the sales channel, parent stores generated close to 80%, exclusive brand outlets around 10%, because these are all under 2 years now. And shopper stop is minimal, even though the count is higher, because the way they wanted to do marketing is not to spend on billboards and other things and waste money there. Rather, just put up a kiosk inside shopper stop, which is in prominent shopping malls, right? So they get that as part of marketing. So shopper stop concept is more on marketing and visibility side than on the sales side. And then online is just started, so it is on the minimal side. And on the category, because we always talk about revenue, so diamond and gold jewelry tops. Then next comes the silver one. Brass is around 20%, which probably is part of the Utsav brand. So this is the competition landscape. So most of you might not know Gargi, but you might know Giva, Mia, and Kushals. Kushals at least has done exceedingly well in terms of marketing in South India. Wherever I go, I just see their billboards everywhere, right? So as management mentioned, everybody is doing a lot of sales, but profit-wise, they are not doing that great. So Gargi stands out in terms of margins here. So coming back to tailwinds and why we are interested in Gargi now. So at the macro level, since this is a 100% domestic story, we don't have to bother about tariffs or imports or anything because they don't depend on any raw materials. And rising disposable income and growing women in urban workforce. And recently government changed the tax slab and up to 12 lakhs you get tax-free income. And then a lot of migration happening towards urban side from rural. And gold price we already discussed. And on the market side, organized jewelry segment is growing faster at around 20%. And unorganized to organized shift is also happening because of this GST changes that happened few years back. And quick commerce is also enabling them because these are little lower value items where you're comfortable ordering online and you don't really have to visit the store to buy something worth 1,000, 2,000 rupees, right? And Gen Z mostly prefers lighter version of jewelry. They don't want to flaunt like 10 kgs of gold on their chest, right? And on the company side, they follow a satellite model, almost zero debt, and backed by a very big parent. No royalty payment to parent company as of now, and I don't think that changes in future. And the recent catalyst, uh, as we already discussed about Reva diamond jewelry being listed, right? So Reva came to IPO to get funding for opening new stores, and now like the parent allowed Gargi to sell shop in shop concept, right? So Reva also will do the same with their new stores for Gargi. So we can expect some kind of a fourth lever here. And Utsav getting into online. So we don't know how it pans out. It could be good for Indian market, I mean, South Indian market. And last year, around 4 5 months back, promoter infused around 10 crores worth of funds into the company at a price point of 970 rupees. The stock was somewhere around 1,000 at that time, I guess. So they did not take money from market. That is, all this 10 crores came from the promoter. The reasoning was this 10 crore is purely going to be used for marketing, and they don't believe in showing return on investment for marketing because they say it's not possible to say how much money they got back by doing this marketing and other things. So they decided to put their own money where they cannot kind of give more info on whether the 10 crores was spent really well or not. So what are the risks? So brand loyalty is going to be lower, not as great as real gold jewelry. And right now for Gargi, the risk is on geographic concentration because most of their revenues come from Maharashtra and northern Karnataka, not even on the southern side. And fashion jewelry has a very short trend, so it just lasts for a few months, right? So they need to keep churning their inventory and designs and all those things. And on the competition side, there is very less entry barrier here, and there are a lot of VC funded players who are expanding rapidly. So you will see a lot of their stores in Bangalore. And that might cause some problem if Gargi is too late to enter in South India. And there is good amount of seasonality, so this will not change. And gold and silver volatility, if it is in one direction, it kind of hits everybody. I mean, not the consumer though. But when the prices start correcting, there would definitely be a short-term dip in margins, is what my understanding is. So this is some of the highlights from the Q3 con call. So the goal to open exclusive brand outlets was around 12, so they opened 16. For FY27 guidance is somewhere around 20-25. So I'm sure they probably might cross 25 in this case. As of date, they have around 121 stores. And when the question was asked, like how many stores can be opened in any given city, so they mentioned Pune alone can accommodate around 40 stores because these stores don't have to be too far from each other because the price points are lower. People would not be willing to travel too long, too far to buy this. So you can have stores a little bit closer. And they have 70 crores cash, and this can fund another 25 stores. That is FY27 funding can be done. And they don't plan to do any equity dilution for next 2 years. And the stock was supposed to be listed in main board in December 2025, but due to some changes from SEBI that one has to be profitable by some 15 crores or something for like 3 years. So they had to move it by 1 year. So they will do it this year in some time. And recently they started selling the lower carat gold jewelry, and at a gross level they said they have already sold around 1 kg. This is a new segment at 9 carat gold because Indian government allowed BIS certification for 9 carat. Earlier it was only for higher carat. So management from my view is top notch, and they usually don't commit to too many things, and if they are committing, they usually honor it well. So this time they have committed to grow 35% CAGR for the next 4 years, top line, and not compromising the current profit margins. So if we go by this number, stock is trading very cheap as of now. But like we discussed, there are a lot of other risks that we have to factor in, right? So on the product mix, when it comes to revenue, uh, gold and diamond is around 38% now, and which will move to 45%. And silver and other brass and all is somewhere around 55%. So if we want to put up a store, what does it take, right? So standalone revenue per shop in Pune is somewhere around 1.5 to 2.5 crores as of now. And the kiosk, that is the one which is in Shopper Stop, that is hardly generating 3.5 to 4 lakhs. So that is more of marketing and less of sales there. And if someone wants to open a franchisee purely on the silver side without the diamond one, right? So you just need around 25 to 30 lakhs. If you want to go with diamond, then it is twice of that. And you can expect your return on capital within 2 years. And on the margin side, silver has very high margin as of now. That could change if silver prices drop. Diamond margins are around 45%. So that includes the gold plus diamond. So I think that will stay where it is. And average ticket price for diamond jewelry is somewhere around 15 to 25,000. And for higher end ones, it's somewhere around 1.2 lakhs. So this we already discussed in the first slide, and yeah, so we discussed about these things already. Yeah, so that's it from my end. Any questions? So I try to keep this presentation very, very simple and not get into too many jargons and accounting and other things. So let me know if you guys have any questions.
Yeah, good one, Satish. So I think if I take the intent away from this presentation, it's a multi-year structural shift towards this kind of jewelry.
Right, that is
So,
true.
right, and that's how this company is taking a lead. Others are not profitable, still need to survive.
Right.
So that's why I think your thought process is okay.
Yeah.
Okay, any questions for Satish directly or in the chat? Just let us know. Okay, I think for the time being we don't have. So once we have, we can check the chat, or I will approach you to
Thank you.
answer. Yeah, thank you for this excellent presentation. So thank you guys. I think let's break for some time for lunch or some other breaks. Maybe 20 minutes from here, we can join back and start from the next set of presentations. Uh, Time is around 1:28. Let's assemble 150. 150 will start back. Okay. So I will just close the meeting for the time being. You can join again around 1:50 p.m.